Week 2 kicks off tonight with Bills Dolphins. We're going to pick that game and every game for Week 2 today on the Locked On NFL Scouting Podcast.
You are Locked On NFL Scouting with the Draft Dudes, your daily podcast for NFL and college football scouting. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's better than this? It's guys being dudes here on the Locked On NFL Scouting Podcast. We're the Draft Dudes. I'm Joe Marino from Locked On Bills. He's Kyle Crabbs from Locked On Dolphins. And we are your NFL experts here with you daily to talk team building across the league on the Locked On NFL Scouting Podcast with the Draft Dudes, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Want to issue a big thank you, shout out, and welcome to our everydayers. Those of you who never miss a single episode, we appreciate y'all being here very, very much. This episode is brought to you by PrizePicks. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnNFL and use code all lowercase LockedOnNFL to win $50 instantly when you play $5.
Joe, it is a cause for celebration for me to share with you. I don't know if you saw this. The Pac-12 is back.
I have no idea a thing about it. Tell me what I need to know.
They are adding 4 schools.
Oh, okay. So we have Cal in Arizona? Is that who it is? No, it's Arizona and Washington State?
Cal's in the ACC.
I knew that. I didn't mean to say Cal. Well, okay, is it Washington State?
And Oregon State.
And Oregon State.
It's the Pac-2 right now.
It's going to
be the six-pack. It's going to be the six-pack.
Who? Okay, one at a time. Who's coming? Come on.
Boise State.
Boise State, baby. Okay, Power. Is that the Power? I don't even know. Okay, Boise State.
There'll be I guess a Power 5 conference.
Wyoming.
Fresno State.
All right.
San Diego State.
San Diego. Yep.
And Colorado State.
Oh, all right. So Boise State's the big one, right?
Yeah, Boise State's the big dub. So the Pac-12 went to the 2-pack and now it's the 6-pack.
Wow. You would have shamed me so hard if I did that, but
I'm really excited that the Pac-12 After Dark is going to live on in infamy, and we're going to get the Boise Blue Turf as a part of it.
Yeah, that's a big win.
That's
the Boise Blue Turf,
massive dub. So, cause for celebration for Pac-12 After Dark enthusiasts. You won't just have to have Oregon State and Washington State play each other 10 times in a season.
As long as the Pac-12 network is still dead, that's what I really need.
Right.
That was a flop of all flops. I'm sure I don't even think it ever existed. Nobody had it.
It's more of a concept than an actual thing, right?
But for some reason, I couldn't watch the games.
There were games I knew I wanted to watch that I still couldn't watch. There were games that happened. I was like, I want to prioritize this. I couldn't even find the streams of those games.
Yeah, because it was fake.
Nobody had
fake. Yeah.
All right. So we're picking week 2. Week 2 NFL season starts with you and me and our teams tonight. Here's to a healthy game. I think we can agree on that first and foremost.
Let's take that.
So Miami hosting Buffalo. We have some odd games on the Sunday slate that I'm just so thankful that we're going to have an unbothered schedule.
Right, 100%.
To sit down and be able to watch uninterrupted. Although I will be working on my next mock draft for 3013.
Oh, another one. Quick turnaround.
Every other week.
Oh, wow. Kyle Crabbs and the mock drafts will be coming in.
We're going to churn them out. We're going to churn them and burn them, which I'm really excited for. Week 1 was kind of ugly for everybody. Still a getting to know you phase with the teams. It was like that last year for us. Felt like with first quarter of the season, we kind of hit our stride after that point. Once you got a better idea of like, okay, this is this year's iterations of the teams instead of we're grading you off of what you were with different teams as individuals and what you were as your team last year. Right. So Joe currently sitting in first place in the pick'em went 9-7 in week 1. I went 8-8. We were different on 3 games. Bites me in the rear end. It always does. I should just fall in line with Joe's picks. I could do it for the next 16 weeks and then week 18 go different on 3 games. And
that'd be really fun. That'd be awesome. Yeah.
But then the show with the roster power rankings that we do with the spotlight of all the teams, there's a numerical value, and we use that along with home and away and all kinds of stuff to help calculate a spread. The show started for its first 6 games that we did, but it finished 7-9. So it rebounded okay the final 10 games of the weekend. So let's see if we can't right the ship here against the spread. The show picks against the spread with the power rankings. We are just picking the games straight up, and we're starting with tonight's game with Bills and Dolphins. The show likes the Bills with a push, a pick 'em. And obviously the real spread on FanDuel is -2.5 for Miami. So the show likes Buffalo to cover 2.5.
I'm not concerned about the spread. We're just picking winners. I got the Dolphins tonight. Short week on the road. Magnitude of the game, I think, is big for Miami. Josh Allen, short week, trying to figure out his hand situation. And I think there's just too much potential mismatch when you look at Miami's offense against this Bills back seven. They had to play fast. There's too much new. I think Dolphins win tonight.
I want to believe you. I do. And I said this on Locked On Dolphins. I'm not superstitious, but I am a little stitious. To be the man, you got to beat the man. So I'm picking Buffalo to win this game head up. And if I'm wrong, it's the most happy I'll ever be to be wrong. And
I think we both feel the same way. we both like to be wrong about our pick tonight.
Yep. So I agree with everything you said as far as the storylines of the game. There's just something about this matchup that Buffalo has been able to have overwhelming amounts of recent success. I know you're going to tell me that these teams are different, and I agree with you. But I think there is a mental hurdle here that I want to see how all the new players help the players who have been a part of this rivalry from Miami side of things to tackle the opportunity that is at hand tonight. We'll see what they do. So got a time for a couple of 1 o'clock games since there's 17 of them.
Yeah, let's do it.
They were so kind to give us 3-4 o'clock games again. New Orleans at Dallas. New Orleans coming off of the shellacking of all shellackings against the Carolina Panthers. Dallas coming off of a shellacking of the Cleveland Browns on the road. Dallas now coming home for their home opener. I'm going to pick the Cowboys to win the game. And part of the reason why I'm going to pick the Cowboys to win the game is because I know Talise Fuaga pitched a shutout against the Carolina Panthers. Off the top of your head, who are the top three edge rushers in the Carolina Panthers? You might know because you live
DJ
there.
Johnson and Iko Leota. I don't know who the other one is.
So
DJ Wan is supposed to be.
Now you got Micah Parsons and you got DeMarcus. I think it's going to be a very different experience for the New Orleans offensive line.
I agree.
Count me very surprised if they score half as many points against Dallas as they scored against Carolina. And I think Dallas at home is going to be able to take care of business. So give me Dallas to win the game head up.
I'm in on Dallas as well. I think them at home, Saints probably overachieved in week one. And Dallas is going to win this game at home.
The FanDuel spread is at Dallas at home -6.5. The show likes Dallas -8. So the show is also picking Dallas. We are riding with the Dallas Cowboys, our Cowboys here in week 2. Let's get one more. Can't believe this game's at 1 o'clock. This feels like it should be in a little bit more of a high spotlight.
Yeah, game. Playoff matchup from last year.
Yes.
I'm not mad about it because this is my 1 o'clock priority on Sunday. I'm watching this game.
Okay, how many screens are you going to have at 1 o'clock?
I'll have one main game and then I'll have Red Zone on the laptop.
I think I'm going to do 2 screens. I'm going to have 3 screens because I have monitor, TV. This game's it's Detroit, Tampa. It's going to be on this screen that I'm looking at right now, which is my biggest one. I'll probably have our next game, which is Cleveland, Jacksonville, up here on the side. And then I'll probably have Jets, Titans up on the TV. So we'll be busy, but let's pick Detroit, Tampa. The show likes Detroit to cover what is a very large spread.
Yeah.
I'm kind of surprised how big the spread is. FanDuel has it at Detroit -7.5. The show likes it more than that. So the show is picking Detroit to cover. Probably, or I would assume we're both going to ride with the Lions without having to make considerations for the spread. But I expect this to be a pretty competitive game.
Yeah, I'm picking Detroit, but I think this would be a nice opportunity for us to really kind of learn more about the Bucs, who took it to the Commanders. But I feel like that's a rookie quarterback in a first game under a new head coach, right? And a ton of turnover on that roster. I think between the Lions and maybe not playing their best game against the Rams and the Bucs coming in, probably feeling really good about how that offense looked in particular, we're going to learn some things about these teams. I do think Detroit wins at home.
Is DJ Reader is expected to play, which is a big development for Detroit.
Yeah.
And I mean, the Rams had no success running the ball against Detroit, and their offensive line situation was a lot compromised in the first place. But
nobody runs on Detroit, man. Nobody runs on Detroit.
But I think about that offensive line in Tampa Bay. I think it's got a lot of talent. I'm a big fan of it. And if we can get Bucky Irving a little bit more run, can we pop a couple runs?
Let's go. Bucky Irving, baby.
So I like Detroit to win as well. But I personally am surprised at how big the show rankings think the difference is between these two teams.
All right. We got a bunch more games to pick, folks. Be sure to stick with us. Game days for me are really busy. I've got 2 young kids, and sometimes it's tough to cook. Well, thank God for DoorDash, because I could just go right to the DoorDash app, pick what I want to eat from my favorite local and national restaurants, and it's brought right to my front door. I mean, a food delivery app like DoorDash is incredible for me in my busy life. The convenience is simply unmatched, and it's not just food from a local restaurant. I can get something from the convenience store, from the grocery store. We're out of milk. Well, guess what? DoorDash is on that for us. So check it out for yourself, and we got a deal here. Use promo code LOCKEDFALL24 for 50% off, up to a $10 value when you spend $15 or more on your first order. Limited time offer. Terms apply. Again, promo is not valid for orders containing alcohol. DoorDash, your door to game day greatness, your door to more. Download the DoorDash app now to order your game day favorites. Must be 21 or older to order alcohol. Drink responsibly. Alcohol available only in select markets. No man wants to lose his hair, but for men, it's actually pretty common. And now with Hims, the solution is simple. Try Hims Hair Loss Solutions, and you'll be joining hundreds of thousands of subscribers who got their flow back. Hims provides access to a range of hair loss treatments that work, all from the comfort of your couch. Hims makes treating hair loss simple with doctor-trusted treatment options and clinically proven ingredients like finasteride and minoxidil that can regrow your hair in as little as 3 to 6 months. The process is simple and 100% online. All you do is fill out answer a few questions, and a medical provider will determine if treatment is right for you. And if prescribed, your treatment is sent right to your door. Start your free online visit today at hims.com/LockedOnNFL. That's HIMS.com/LockedOnNFL for personalized hair loss treatment options. HIMS.com/LockedOnNFL. Results vary based on studies on topical and oral minoxidil. Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if a prescription is appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information.
Take a deep breath, Joe. I got you.
Boy, that was a lot. A lot of big words, you know.
Yeah.
Be careful on those.
Know how you are with big words. Yeah. The Browns visiting Jacksonville in week 2. Jacksonville favored by 3. The vibes are bad in Cleveland.
Bad.
The vibes are very bad in Cleveland. And because of the vibes being very bad in Cleveland, and because of Jacksonville looking very impressive for much of their week 1 game, and probably being a little ticked off at the way that it ended, I think the Browns are in for a hurting on Sunday. I'm picking the Jags, and I'm picking the Jags by a lot more than the -3. The show is riding Jacksonville covering the spread as well.
Give me Jacksonville. I think you hit some of the big storylines there. The other one, of course, the Heat. Cleveland coming to Jacksonville Sunday, 1 o'clock kick in September. That's going to wear those boys down. Jags by a bunch.
So I think just to give Jacksonville some flowers, I was really impressed with Brian Thomas Jr. And that was a player I had my questions with in the draft process. I think the way that you can move him around, I think his size would give Denzel Ward a hard time if you want to do that matchup. I think his speed would give Martin Everson a bit of a hard time if you put him in that matchup. And I think the space for Greg Newsome would give him a hard time if you put him in that matchup. So I think that's looking like a potential breakout player in the ways that Jacksonville is going to use him vertically down the field. And then they have some other size guys. And then they have some other separator guys that, frankly, didn't have good games against Miami. So a lot of matchups in that game I think can be really fun for a Cleveland team that is talented, but, oh, by the way, their tackles are hurt. You got to block Josh Hines-Allen and Trayvon Walker.
Trayvon Walker. Tough.
That's a really good combo of edge rushers.
And Deshaun Watson, boy.
Vibes are bad.
Boy.
Vibes are bad. San Francisco is visiting Minnesota, where the vibes are good because the Vikings won by 3 touchdowns in their home opener in their season opener, against the New York Giants. But the bad news is you're not playing the New York Giants this week. You're playing the other end of the spectrum of the NFC conference.
Didn't the Vikings beat the 49ers last year?
I believe that is a factual statement to make.
I think the 49ers win this game, but I would not be surprised if the Vikings cover. I think this game might be a little closer than some people think.
Well, the show likes them to cover like San Francisco to cover -6.5.
Barely, though, right? It's pretty close.
By half a point. Yeah, the show has the San Francisco -7 versus an actual spread on FanDuel of -6.5. I like San Francisco to win the game as well. We haven't really talked about the Christian McCaffrey deal on this show. We talked off air about it a little bit. Kind of an unsettling development for Achilles tendonitis with what was originally a calf, with him missing time, and there was a contract adjustment in there, so you didn't really think anything of it. And then you get on the eve of week 1, it's like, oh yeah, he's not playing. There's a complication with the Achilles. So for San Francisco to have Jordan Mason play the way that he did against the Jets, I think is super promising. A big reason why I still think San Francisco covers is what the Vikings did last year from a fronts perspective with putting all their guys up on the line of scrimmage. If they're going to try to play that kind of game, I just don't think they have the mass to hold against the run game. You could put 6-7 guys on the line of scrimmage, but if 4 of them are linebackers, I don't think that's going to help. It's going to help you against the passing game. But I think San Francisco would be fully content, as they showed with Mason against the Jets, to just run the ball.
Right. And Sam Darnold's got the secrets, Kyle. He's got the secrets.
That's right. It's a big week for secrets.
Big week for secrets. Big week for the secrets.
Sam Darnold, Mike White, and Jordan Poyer, the X factors of the week.
Right.
The Chargers visiting the Panthers, where as bad as the vibes are in Cleveland, I think you could probably say the vibes are worse in Carolina already. Dave Tepper already had his first meeting with Dave Canales to talk about the state of affairs of the team.
So do you feel like that might be an overblown headline? I mean, don't you think owners meet with coaches pretty much every week to discuss that type of thing? Or is it because it's Tepper and I
think it's probably because it's Tepper.
Yeah. I mean,
I know my owner doesn't do that.
Okay.
He used to do stuff like that.
I'm not defending Carolina. I mean, I don't have.
I think you're Dave Tepper's #1 fan. I'm gonna get you a T-shirt. You can wear it to the next concert there in Charlotte.
The Chargers by $1 billion, right?
The Chargers, yeah. I think the Chargers are going to run them over. Oh, by the way, Derek Brown's out for the year. Just a brutal blow for Carolina up front.
Come on, man.
That's
the thing is their defense was supposed to give them a pulse here.
Right. And they got ran over last week. So I don't think they've got the goods to keep the pace of the game up, to kind of force the Chargers to be one-dimensional. And if the Chargers are going to be one-dimensional, I think they're going to just hop on the John Deere and run you over, is what I think is going to happen. The show likes the Chargers to cover -5.5 on the road. The Ravens, favored at home by 8.5 points against the Raiders. I'll say this. The show likes the Ravens by about twice what the actual spread is, and the actual spread is more than a touchdown. This is far and away the show's biggest mismatch of the week.
Yeah, I don't know if I agree with that. I think the Ravens will win the game. I'm picking the Ravens to win this game, but I do feel like the Raiders and their defensive line talent could probably create some challenges based on what we saw from Baltimore and that their offensive line against Kansas City. So I think that's an interesting storyline. But I think Baltimore, with extra time coming off of a loss at home in their opener, like, they're going to be up for this game. I think that they bounce back, but I'm not all the way out on the Raiders, like, playing a competitive game.
I would be inclined to agree with you, except I watched the Chargers run for 176.
It's concerning.
And I'm looking at what the Chargers do, and the Ravens are the finished product of that as far as being able to play heavy personnels and challenge you up front and run the ball. And I'm like, I don't know how you can do it. So I think the Ravens run for a bunch of yards, and I think they have a very strong bounce back performance after a tough loss in week 1. Seattle, we got, let's do 2 more and then we'll hustle up. Seattle on the road in New England, favored by 3.5 on FanDuel. The show likes Seattle -4. So the show is taking Seattle to cover 3.5 points on the road in New England against the 1-0 Patriots.
Right. Yeah, I think Seattle's run defense will be a lot better than what Cincinnati was. I think that's what it's going to come down to. If New England's going to win the game, they have to be able to run the ball like they did effectively. I think Seattle's offense might be in a better position too than Cincinnati was in week 1. I think Seattle goes into New England and wins the game.
So Cincinnati had Jamar Chase, who didn't practice all summer,
right?
All training camp. Didn't have T. Higgins. Tyler Boyd's gone. Joe Mixon's gone. I look at Seattle, and Kenneth Walker sounds like he's dealing with an oblique, but even if it's Zach Charbonnet, with the pass catchers of Noah Fant and the 3 wide receivers, I think there's enough spacing that unless the Patriots hunt up like multiple, like 3+ turnovers, I think the Seahawks win the game. So I have the Seahawks as well. One more quick weirdest game of the week, just because we have no idea what's about to happen with the Colts visiting the Packers with Malik Willis starting at quarterback. FanDuel has the spread at Indianapolis -3. The show is taking Indianapolis to cover -3.
Yeah, I think the big story for the Packers here is like they got to run the ball. And the Colts the Texans ran the ball on them extremely well in week 1.
Mixon had like 150 yards.
Yeah, 179 from scrimmage, 33 touches and a touchdown. So they're going to feed Josh Jacobs, but man, I think the lack of belief that I have in Malik Willis to come in and give them what they need in the passing game has me leaning into Indianapolis for this game. Thinking about disagreeing with me, aren't you?
I am. And it's a bummer for the Colts because now Juju Brents is out for the year in addition to Samson Ebukam. So like they're already taking some heavy losses on the defensive side of the ball, but is Malik Willis going to capitalize on that with an everybody eats skill group situation when we couldn't even get a Hail Mary off at the end of the game against Philadelphia? Like, vibes are bad. I'm taking the Colts.
All right, Jets, Titans, and the rest of the slate coming up on the other side of it, folks. Be sure to stick with us. You've heard us talk a lot about FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Well, we got a little something different for you. Now through September 22nd, all FanDuel customers can bet $5 and get a 3-week free trial of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Then with a YouTube TV base plan, you'll be able to watch every regular season Sunday afternoon out-of-market game. All that you need is a Google account and a current form of payment, and you can cancel at any time. And if that's not enough, be sure to check out FanDuel's Profit Boost in the app and use it for FanDuel's Double Your Winnings for all Sunday, September 15th, pregame moneyline bets. Profit Boost will be live starting Thursday. That's today, September 12th. View your account page now to learn more about your boost. Just visit FanDuel.com to download America's #1 sportsbook.
This is your latest reminder of how weird Thursday games are. I just refreshed the timeline during the read, and I had a post from an injury report for another game this week, and there's only one of the columns full because they only had to do their first injury reports yesterday. Right. I was like, man, that's pretty empty injury report. Oh, right, because it's Thursday, and the game's not till Sunday, so you have one today and one tomorrow.
We're living in a different world than the rest of the world right now.
That's right, and then we got to suffer through it all weekend too. Titans hosting the Jets with a showcase of two teams that probably would have liked their Week 1 games back. The Titans blew a 17-point lead with a special teams touchdown and a defensive touchdown.
Yeah, Will Levis just kind of chucking it, man. Just chucking it.
He let it run down his leg there at the end. That was pretty tough play for a team that had that game in control, and then the defense didn't yield anything. What do you happen to have the game total for points in this game? We don't bet those things on this, but I have to imagine this is like
pretty low.
41.
40.5.
Okay. And I
not the lowest of the week though, Kyle Crabbs. We got 38.5.
Is there an
we got 36.5. We got Broncos and Steelers is 36.5.
Yeah, and I'm guessing 38.5 is Giants Commanders.
38.5 was Patriots Seahawks.
Okay. Okay.
Giants Commanders 43.5. You might want to smash the under on that.
Yeah, I'd probably take the under.
The highest over under of the week is Bucs Lions at 51.5.
I'd probably take the over on that too.
And then they got Bills Dolphins tonight 48.5. I've already bet the over on that.
You think it goes over?
Oh yeah, I think there's points.
It's going to be one of those 33-27 type games.
100%. Yeah, 100%. There's points tonight for sure.
Great. We're talking Jets Titans. The show likes the Jets to cover on the road -3.5 by a point.
Hate this game. If I had an ounce of confidence in the Titans offense, I'd pick them. I don't have an ounce of confidence there. I'm going with the Jets.
Yeah, I am in the same exact boat that you are. I think this could be a really impressive defensive showing. I think the vibes potentially in New York, if the Jets struggle to score points again, would be brutal. But I think that's going to be the case because I think you can take L'Jarius Sneed and play some matchups with Garrett Wilson, force the other skill players to have to make plays for you. I think the Titans' defensive front is a total mismatch up front, especially in the interior.
Right.
And they got a lot of speed in the second level and in the safeties with how they've revamped that entire group. So I don't think the Jets offense is going to look good, but I think the experience at quarterback and then Will Levis going against the Jets defense is going to be the big differences.
Yeah. Well, Levis is going to make the mistakes that's going to cost the game.
And if they don't, then we'll lead Crow on Monday. But that's
and I think that's what the Titans got to run the ball. They got two good backs. They got a physical offensive line with a great offensive line coach against a suspect Jets defensive line. Like that's your path. But
I think the concern is that the Titans offensive line was bad in pass pro against Chicago. Now,
I'm obviously picking the Jets, but that's
I'm also picking the Jets. I would not put any real money on this game.
No, because
it is kind of a big question mark on each side. The Commanders at home favored by 1.5 against the Giants, where the vibes are also bad. Vibes are bad. A couple different spots along the way. What do you think of this game?
I like.
What do you think about that, Joe?
I like the Giants. I like the Giants in this game. I think that Washington's defense is in trouble. I think their secondary stinks, and I don't think much of the Giants on offense. But I feel like there's enough that I can buy into with Malik Neighbors and like Daniel Jones at some point has got to play better if there's ever a chance for that to happen. I think it's this game. I don't really trust Washington's offensive line against Dexter Lawrence and Brian Burns and KT. I think there's enough going for the Giants in this game that I think they can go into Washington and win.
The entire show is riding with the Giants this week because the show has the Giants to cover +1.5. Joe is picking the Giants to win the game, and Kyle is picking the Giants to win the game.
I thought you might go Washington.
No, I've got some convictions on some games a little later, but not in this one. I agree with what you said. I think for Washington, defensively, a lot of new Rams, Cardinals favored at home by 1.5.
It's an overreaction to me. That's an overreaction to what's going on with the Rams and their offensive line and no Puka. The Cardinals don't have the defensive talent to take advantage of that. That's what it comes down to. They don't. I think the Rams win.
I think the Rams win as well. They still have Matthew Stafford. They still have Cooper Kupp.
The defense played a lot better than we thought.
Mm-hmm.
And they're good.
And maybe you can tell me this. Arizona scoring 28 points last week.
Yeah.
What was the aberration that allowed that to happen against what everyone perceives to be a good Buffalo defense?
Kickoff return for a touchdown, and the Bills stop them on third down due to a crap late hit call that wasn't, and they get an extra life and score a touchdown. So it comes down to
half your points.
Has half your points right there.
Didn't they get a turnover in scoring territory? The Josh Allen fumble?
The Bills were in Arizona red zone, and Josh fumbled on the opening drive. So, like fluky stuff, man. Fluky stuff.
So, concerned about the Rams offensive line? Yes. Looking at the Cardinals defensive front, thinking that they will be able to capitalize on it, especially with how inspired I thought the Rams played on Sunday night against the Lions. I don't think so. I'm on the Rams as well. The show is on the Rams to cover +1.5. The show actually likes the Rams head up in this game, even with the injuries. Chiefs, Bengals. Chiefs favored at home, -5.5 points. The show likes the Chiefs -7. So the show is on the Chiefs to cover. I also think the Chiefs cover -5.5.
And Chiefs at home, extra time. Bengals talking all that crap in previous years. Boy, this could get ugly.
That was back yesterday. I don't know if you saw that.
Are they really? They can't. I mean, come on,
can't
man.
help themselves. Yeah, they asked what Xavier Worthy brings the offense. He said speed. He runs fast in straight lines.
Boy. Come on, Cam. Cam, come on, buddy. Like, respectfully, you can't match steps with him. He can run in a straight line faster than you. A lot faster.
If Cincinnati's going to win the game, it's the return of the chemistry with Jamar Chase, who has a massive game.
Okay, Trent McDuffie says hi.
Right, I agree. Cincinnati plays a little bit more inspired defensively as far as fitting with tackling. Felt like I think I saw Ramondre Stevenson had 5 yards before contact and 120 yards after contact or something like that in week 1 against Cincinnati. So that's the pathway for Cincinnati. Now, maybe they come in with the right sense of urgency, but they've also just frankly been bad. Joe Burrow's got a 1-8 record in the month of September.
Yeah, they got to learn that the season starts in September, not October. That'd be helpful for Cincy.
So, yeah, I think you add all of those things up, and I'm also riding with Cincinnati. I wanted to get his career splits just to make sure I got his record right in the month of September, because it is such a jarring number for a player who has had as much success as he has had. It's not going to load for me, so we'll come back to it. Pittsburgh at Denver. Pittsburgh favored on the road -2.5.
I feel terrible about Bo Nix against this Pittsburgh defense. I think Porter takes away Sutton. I think this front, the defensive line that the Steelers have creates all kinds of problem for Bo Nix. I hate the matchup. I'm going with Pittsburgh as long as they don't turn over the ball. I think they're going to be fine in this game.
Yeah, I don't know where I got 1-8. Joe Burrow 6-8-1 in the month of September.
Still not very good for
as good as he is, like record wise across his entire career.
They're always climbing out of a hole, man.
8 of his 23 career regular season losses have come in September.
That's notable.
Yeah, I agree with you as far as the matchup with Bo Nix against Pittsburgh's defense. Both of the tackles, Garrett Bowles and Mike McGlinchey, against a healthy TJ Watt, is a bad mix. I don't think they can particularly play well with matchups, so I am also riding pretty heavy on Pittsburgh -2.5, although I'm just picking the game straight up. The show actually likes Pittsburgh -2. So the show thinks Denver covers -2.5 at home. Chicago at Houston. Houston favored by 6.5. The show likes Houston by 5.5. So the show thinks that Chicago is going to cover here, and Caleb Williams is going to have a much better performance, apparently, for it to be a 5.5-point decision.
You know what the weird talking point coming out of week 1 as it relates to Caleb Williams has been? Everyone says, Caleb Williams was playing like he was back at USC. Do you realize how silly of a statement that is? Oh, he's the player he's always been, and that was a problem? What are we doing, man? What are we doing? I think this is a nightmare for him, because one of my talking points last week was I think him opening at home is a disaster. He's going to try to do too much.
All the plays in the world.
All of them. Now a Sunday night spotlight game. The world's watching the number
stage.
1 pick. Come on, man, against Houston, who I think is looking to play a little better on defense this week.
We've already got an injury to Roma Dunze, so your skill. Keenan Allen's dealing with a heel. Texans.
I hope I'm go Bears, baby, go Bears. But
all right, last game, Monday Night Football, Atlanta at Philadelphia. Philadelphia favored by 6.5 points on FanDuel. The show likes Atlanta to cover, but still likes Philadelphia as the favorite in the game.
I like Philly at home. I'm concerned about Atlanta and Kirk and not being able to move. And this Eagles defensive line. And you saw, I mean, the Falcons had some issues with protection last week. I think that Philly has a secondary talent to match up with what Atlanta has offensively. Saquon's a monster. Philly.
Saquon's going to be the player that kind of reignites the running back market value. That's a home run value, and they showed more of a willingness with Kellen Moore to feed him than they did backs.
Stay healthy, dude.
Yep.
Stay healthy. Yeah.
So I agree with you in Philadelphia. I think Philadelphia presents enough matchup problems, and Atlanta, I have questions about Kirk. And what you and I said that we were going to do is we're going to get through the first 2 weeks, and then we're going to revisit how we had some players ranked and not do dramatic changes, but at least do some tweaks on the fly to try to make some concessions for dramatic discrepancies between what players were before this season and what they've shown in the first 2 weeks. And then was it every 4 weeks we do updates after that?
Yeah.
So that way we're a little up to speed, but we're going to take advantage of a 2-week sample size here after this week.
We're different on one game, Bills Dolphins.
Yep. Hope you're leading by 2 weeks next Thursday, by 2 games next Thursday.
I hope it's tied up, baby.
Because I hope we're tied. So that's going to do it for us here on Locked On NFL Scouting. I'm Kyle Crabbs. He's Joe Marino. We appreciate you guys for checking out the show. As always, you can find us on YouTube or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. Make it a great rest of your day. Enjoy Thursday night tonight and enjoy the football ahead. We have takes on takes coming tomorrow. Joe, how are people submitting their takes?
Twitter, X, whatever it's called. I'll put out a tweet as soon as we're done. Yeah.
There you go. So you know where to find us. Hope to see you tomorrow.